Hello, everybody. It's great to be here one more time today. My name is Gary Fowler. I'm the CEO, president, and founder of GSD Get You Done Venture Studios, a premier AI and quantum venture studio and family office located in Silicon Valley. Today, I have an incredible guest today. Pawel Osterreicher is the CEO and co-founder of ReSpo.Vision, a sports tech startup that's reinventing the game with advanced AI. He's had an incredible journey from strategy consulting at Boston Consulting Group to driving massive growth at deepsense.ai and now leading the charge at ReSpo.Vision, where his team is using computer vision and AI to democratize access to elite level sports analytics. Under his leadership, he's given fans, coaches, and players unprecedented insights, turning a single match video into 3D tracking data, tactical breakdowns, and immersive media content. His vision is bold to transform the way we play, watch, and understand sports. And today we're going to talk a little bit to him about his entrepreneurial journey and how he's changing the sports world, the challenges of building a startup in Central and Eastern Europe, and what the future of sports might look when technology and passion collide. So with that, I'd like to bring him on board. Hi, Powell.
Hi, Gary. Hello, everyone.
So, you've gone from management consulting at BCG to leading AI startups like DeepSense and now ReSpo.Vision. Why did you make that move from strategy consulting into entrepreneurship?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I'm aware that my path has been maybe a little bit non-standard, meaning spending time at a corporate level, gaining knowledge and experience and only then moving on to the more entrepreneurial onto more entrepreneurial path. I quite often use an analogy that my entrepreneurial path was the result of years of prayer and not a moment of revelation, to use religious comparison, because I kind of wanted to be an entrepreneur, but I also wanted to be well equipped, and that is why I started my career in this great business university, which is top management consulting firms. And only after gaining some business acumen, I decided to move on to slightly more entrepreneurial path, joining an established computer vision powerhouse, which was deepsense AI at the time I was joining it, and then equipped with a technical knowledge, finally felt sufficiently well equipped to found my own company, leveraging computer vision in the realm of sports. So that is essentially my train of thought, my way of thinking into my preparation towards becoming an entrepreneur.
So what personal connection do you have to sports and how did that passion influence the creation of the
Oh,
company?
yeah. Well, I consider myself a sports nerd. I've been following literally every sports that there is. Every country has their own quirks. We in Poland follow weird sport like ski jumping or speedway, which are very very hard to come by in different parts of the world. And I'm no exception. I follow these sports and lots of the others. So passion, I would say, passion to sports. At the same time, being able to to look into the sports, follow it as a fan from from the outside in perspective, allowed me to also feel like like the industry is not utilizing the recent innovation, especially AI fueled innovation. And being an expert in AI, I kind of connected the dots, even without being a professional, a sports professional myself. This is at the same time it might be considered a challenge, but at the same time it's also a blessing, because you can have a look at the subject matter from the outside in perspective, and then basically don't have this all this whole baggage of of previous ways of thinking. So yeah, sports fan. I'm not a sports professional, and able to kind of like see the gap, see the niche, ready to be explored with a use of the most recent AI algorithms.
Can you explain in simple terms what the company does and how it's different from other sports analytics platforms?
Yeah. So essentially, we do what is called optical player tracking. So it's using computer vision, a subset of AI, to harvest coordinates of players and the ball during the game. Yeah, so imagine any sports for that matter, and across the entirety of the game, we capture with inch accuracy a coordinates of all the players on the ball in 2D as well as in 3D. So we're also targeting body parts. How are we different? Well, the depth of the information differs us from majority of sports analytics companies, which typically rely on manually tagged events or statistics. But even within the optical player tracking group, which is not that numerous, and we occupy an interesting spot because we do it all this inch accurate tracking from a single camera. And that is an important distinction because doing it from a single camera means doing it from any single camera, means doing it fully scalable and remotely. So to give an example, we can process at the same time without a need to be there. We can process a Copa America tournament in Latin America. We can process a Japanese league game, or we can process a games played in Africa in different time zones, because we are essentially deploying our software on top of the footage which is already recorded, because there's an already coverage by the broadcaster, by a tactical camera, etc. So what we have built is a very detailed yet extremely scalable and therefore easy to deploy solution for sports analytics.
How is AI reshaping the way fans, coaches, and players interact with sports today?
Well, I tend to frame this question, this subject in the following form. So data analytics, AI is only but another way to gain competitive advantage. And if you think what is sports all about, well, sport is all about winning. Yeah, of course, we have different opinions. It's about participation, etc., etc. But at the end of the day, like inherently, you compete in order to win. So anything that gives you an edge over your competitor, be it a better equipment, a better training, physical, psychological training, will eventually be used to help you defeat your opponent. And data analytics, AI, are no different. They are but another tool that helps win, and as such they are being used, and organizations, teams, players using it better gain advantage. If there is no advantage in these tools, they will be discarded. So my answer to that, the question how AI is reshaping, is getting, because it works, it gets more and more traction, more and more interest from the practitioners, and changes the way training and the game is being played. And the perfect example, like the simplest example, is basketball and the way the game changed over the last decade or so. Like just look at the game from 2010 or something, and look from where the shots were taken. You had Kobe and the stuff doing long twos or driving at the basket, and now you have teams shooting plethora of threes all around every game, etc. And the discussion whether it's good or not, whether it's enjoyable or not, is something else. I'm just saying that the game has changed because people found out that this just maximizes the chances of winning, and this was due to the technology. It was due to understanding the probabilities, Moneyball, sabermetrics kind of philosophy applied to this particular sport. And other sports are no different. And what we do, what others are doing, help make such an informed decisions, influencing tactics, influencing the way the game is played, as well as the scouting, training, and other key processes.
What do you see as the biggest opportunities for AI in sports over the next 5 years? Performance, fan engagement, or something else?
Fan engagement, actually. Performance is to certain extent penetrated, and especially if you look at the sports who have been historically good at leveraging data, baseball, where the Moneyball started, the upside is limited when it comes to just performance related stuff. But fan engagement, oh man, I mean, like, just 2 points I want to make. Like, first point is, like, if there's a very little amount of things, a very limited number of industries which end products look the same as like 50, 60 years ago. And like imagine the sports broadcast from 1980 and take a sports broadcast from today. Like it's essentially the same. You have a visuals, some visual feed from a stadium or court or whatever. You have a visual overlay with a score and a guy talking over talking and commenting the game. Like it's literally the same. So where's the innovation? Like just look at all the rest things, all the rest of the world, the entire world has changed. So first of all, there hasn't been. So what I'm trying to say by bringing this example up is just there hasn't been so much of an innovation in the recent years. The second thing that I want to bring up here is that, well, the technology is already knocking at media entertainment industry door, and you have ways of virtualizing things, digital twins, in recreating a reality in a virtual environment, giving people ability to feel the game, from a much closer perspective. I'm talking about leveraging triple A video games engines to show a particularly exciting highlights and to deliver it both in a onto your laptop or your smartphone, as well as potentially via VR headset or smart glasses. So I think we are on the brink of a revolution, which means anything between 2 and 5 years from now, we are going to witness more and more, much more immersive ways to engage with sports. And we have first examples, first harbingers of things to come. Like there's this very interesting company called Cosm, which is doing this, wide screens, curved screens, and installing them at specific venues. We have of course Sphere in Las Vegas, who has been a massive success. This is like a starting from the first principles kind of approach. Like I have a viewer, I have a hardware and a place, and how can I make it more immersive? And then there is a software oriented way of thinking. Okay, so I have this technology, a video game technology, video computer vision technology, which I can leverage to bring even more immersion to the fans. And this is where we are going to witness a lot of progress and innovation.
How can smaller clubs or federations use AI-powered insights to compete with wealthier elite organizations?
Glad that you're asking this question. By using tools like ReSpo.Vision, like my company does, because one of the great things about the recent growth of AI, great for the humanity or great for the world, maybe not necessarily great for the big guys, is what I often called a DeepSeek moment, similar to Sputnik moment back in the days. DeepSeek moment was the moment where where you just realized that it's not like the big guys have claimed that you need trillions of dollars in order to train an algorithm. You can actually make it much more efficiently in much more essentially in your garage. But that's a great thing. But that's a great thing for us users and fans, because it means that we are not limited to a monopoly oligopoly situation. We can we can have an actual market of companies competing with a world-class solutions. So similar here. It has been the case that the innovation and the revolution, the Moneyball revolution, Moneyball actually came from Oakland A's, etc. But the story, what happened a year ago, like Oakland A's were no more. Like the big guys have started hiring people and implementing the solution. So it has always been like that, because this is where budgets are, etc. Right now, an outcome, a side outcome of a AI revolution is that we are witnessing a democratization of access to the data, democratization of access to a high quality algorithms and output. Again, my company is able to generate a elite level data from a single camera remotely for a fraction of a price of what have so far been limited to deploying multicam setups on the stadiums of Manchester cities of the world in soccer, or essentially big wealthy guys. So my answer to that is follow the software and AI revolution in and gain access. This Davids can gain access to what has been only possible for Goliaths up until now.
One of the things, Paul, when I was over in Poland, and I've been there a number of times, is that there's incredible companies there, but the venture environment is awful. I mean, they just don't have. They're very conservative. Not saying that they don't want to do it, but they're very conservative, and the amount of money that they're willing to invest is lower, and the valuations are lower. And yet, there's incredible talent. Incredible talent that I've seen. And in fact, I have Polish companies inside of my family office today, so I see it. But what needs to change for Poland and CE more broadly to unleash a snowball effect?
Yeah. That's a topic which is a subject of a heated discussion within Poland, and that also pertains to other countries in the region and as well Central Europe, Central Eastern Europe.
Just so it's not just in Poland. I
Yeah,
have three-quarters of the companies in the current cohort of GSD are companies from Silicon Valley, right? But problem is they don't have the access to capital, networking contacts, and operational expertise. Depending upon what you're getting into. So, for instance, biotech, um, about 75-80% of the biotech investments last year were from family offices, not from VCs, right? Depending upon what part of biotech, but a huge percentage. And it's
yeah,
hard to get to those people unless you know them.
yeah,
So and then the other thing, here's another thing with the Polish companies, they're very modest. Pal, they're very, very modest. You ask them what they're doing, and they tell you, I had one gentleman who was an algorithmic mathematician expert. And I asked him, and he edited the algorithmic journal. And I said, "What do you know?" And he's like, "Well, I know a little bit." Instead of like talking about it, he was so modest, you couldn't get him to open up to tell what he has, right? It was like prying it out of him. So, anyhow, sorry to interrupt you there, but I see it, and I have Polish companies inside. In fact, where we have 180 companies in GSD in my family office today. So, and they're from all over the world. I see it a lot. But the other thing is, it's like having a Ferrari in the garage. If you don't get the Ferrari out, you aren't going to win the race. You got to get it out and drive it. And then you got to, what do you need to win the race? You need the right team, the right pit crew, the right driver, the right aerodynamics, somebody that's done it a few times, the right sponsors. And if you have those, just like you do with a startup, you can win the race.
yeah. That's very much correct. And I think there are again two answers to that. One, like, let's say, like a classic answer would be, what is needed to succeed is mostly time and maturity of the ecosystem. Like Poland has been, of course, it has already been 30 some years since we emerged out of the socialist, like a centrally planned economy, essentially. So you need a generation of people growing up, generation of people succeeding at doing business, then reinvesting their proceeds into understanding the risk environment, and being willing to bet a certain part of their equity on high risk ventures, etc. So that's what I mean by, we need time. The ecosystem needs time to mature, to have these success stories, this poster childs of successful startups, which bring people, which makes people flock towards startups, because they see these guys actually making splash with their companies, etc. So
Well,
that is
that's a point. That's another thing, pal. One of the things that happens about 70% of the time, the founders have technical degrees, right? So they're technologists, and they don't understand marketing and sales, right? They don't know PR and visibility, and it's critically important. I remember when I had this course at Stanford, 90% of building a unicorn is not about the product; it's about the story. The
yeah,
storytellers are the ones that win.
yeah,
And
yeah.
so, if you're a good storyteller and you nail it, you win. But the other thing is, if you're not in the ecosystem, I mean, think about it. For companies anywhere, how in the heck do you raise money? What do you do? Just blindly send stuff out to VCs? No. If you have a network and contacts, the connections with those folks, the probability of being able to raise money dramatically goes up because they know who you are. I
Mhm.
remember when I went over to the Czech Republic with Wozniak recently, and we were keynotes on a conference. We had so I did this conference, had it done. I had 500 PowerPoint presentations sent to me after I was done. The other thing is you get inundated. And what do? You look at the ones that have the best stories. They could be
Of course.
great companies, but you don't look. And
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
and by the way, it's not just Poland. My German companies that I have inside of GSD, they're also very um, modest, right? And they get so wrapped up in details, they don't go down through and take their company forward. It's unbelievable, right? Incredible technologies. The difference with Poland is you have incredible mathematicians that can figure things like AI out, right? In fact, I saw some of them down in Gdansk. I was a keynote down there. I had about 2,000 people in the audience, and I mean, it's just incredible. So it's get the Ferrari out of the garage. Anyhow, I think it's an incredible environment, incredible opportunity. How do you balance serving both media and performance analytics clients and sports? They're two entirely different markets.
Mhm. By hiring great people and who can help us manage that. I mean, like one of the biggest revelations, biggest findings of my entrepreneurial path was that at the end of the day, if you want to grow, you need to you need to go beyond what you can do, and you need to hire the best people to do the job for you. It sounds trivial, but it's probably a challenge for every founder to just be to just keep things under your control and try to do it yourself. We are fortunate to be able to to employ people almost all around the world and help us scale the business outside Poland. To your previous point, I mean, what could help us was that we founded ReSpo.Vision at the outset of COVID, like literally March 2020. So that was the time when we all remember that like we weren't able whether we are entering a zombie apocalypse or another financial crisis or whatever. So everything stopped. So that forced us to to start thinking differently than just grow organically, hire people, try to sell in the local market, etc., etc. Like we everything was dead. So we joined a virtual accelerator, which was pan-European, and that forced us out. I mean, that forced us out of our comfort zone. Like we started talking to people from all around Europe, also from different parts of the world as well, US or Asia, because they have brought them as a jurors, as a advisors, etc. And that helped us to create a global company from the very beginning, because we have had first implementation in France, we had first second customer in the US, which immediately changed our thinking, which might have been and that is, I like that you brought this European example. Like Europe is a mm, Europe consists of countries, and those countries have different language, culture, and unfortunately legal environment, which, by the way, hinders your growth a lot. I mean, like, what's the difference between a state in the US? Negligible from the legal perspective. In Europe, it's a different, language and the legal framework. So what's challenging is that you tend to start from your own market, and if you happen to be in one of the biggest countries, and Poland is actually big enough, 40 million people and $1 trillion economy, it's big enough to just give you this false illusion of security, and yeah, I can grow here, like I can do a business here. Well, you can, but you for sure will not build a unicorn or like a $200 million business out of just a single country. And that pertains to the same logic in Italy, in Spain, in Germany. So what helped us was this artificial setup, the COVID setup, which forced us out from Poland to a singular place, which we're still on, the virtual accelerator, because everything was just down at that time, and that made us like a global from day one. So maybe that was a little bit of luck, but at the end of the day, it set the tone at the very outset of our activities. So I think it was very useful.
Yeah, no, the Silicon Valley is a port to the rest of the world, Paul. So I'm out there half the time, and people say, "Well, why is that?" And it's still half the money in the world. People come there for deals. The valuation's a lot higher, and people get it. I mean, it's not like talking about something that maybe it's understanding what the direction of the market's going to be. especially in areas like AI and quantum computing. So we're coming up to the top of the show, pal. So closing thoughts and how do people get a hold of you?
Yeah. Well, I think the revolution, the AI revolution, is going to change the sport, as we discussed, even more so in the way we consume it or watch it than it is being played, because it has already happened if you think about it. And this is an exciting time because specifically sport has a lot of catching up to do. Sport is a very ill-suited to the current setup of entertainment industry. And I'm not saying the setup is correct. It can be argued that it's it's harmful to to our brains or whatever, but it is what it is. Short forms of content, quick engagement, grabs, and stuff like that. Sports has a lot of catching up to do, and I would expect a lot of innovation within that space, because the numbers don't lie. Like, sports is losing viewers, especially in the younger cohorts. So something's got to change, and that is an exciting thing. And that also is a second answer to your question, why we're doing both performance and fun engagement, because it is going to be a hell interesting space, the fun engagement in sports. So definitely we want to be there.
That's great. So, pals, thanks for taking time. How do people get a hold of you? What's the best way for them to reach you? LinkedIn, email?
LinkedIn, email, contact at ReSpo.Vision. Feel free to shoot an email or catch me on LinkedIn. I'm fairly active there. So yeah, sure.
Sounds good. And if you want to stay on for a few minutes after the show, I'm happy to talk to you. To all
Sure,
the
of
guests
course.
out there, thanks for joining again. GSD presents Top Global Startups. My name is Gary Fowler, and I'm your host. Stay happy, stay safe, and stay healthy. And we'll be back to you again soon with another exciting edition. And thanks to all of you, we're at about 1.4 million views today. And thanks to you for pushing us forward. Thank you, and take care.